You have to understand how Kojima really structures his games. He likes using metaphors a lot. In the previous game, that's Death Stranding 1, the whole point of that game was connection. Different forms of connection. One where you are connecting people, one where the BTs are still connected to this world, and he likes using the hand to show that connection. That's an example of a metaphor that he likes using. But one of the metaphors that stood out to me from the previous game was the analogy of the stick and the rope. The stick being used to push people away, to create divide, and the rope being used to actually help people. In the game, the strands are a form of rope where it helps connect, and the stick is like the guns and the grenades that you use to harm people. And the first game made it entirely clear that there is going to be an even more focus on the rope rather than the stick. That was one of the most important plot points in that game, so more pacifist form of gameplay, to which it got mixed reviews. And it focused more on taking your time in delivering packages and not rushing anything in the game. But this time around, for Death Stranding 2, a lot more emphasis is put on the stick. Even Higgs, the antagonist, tells you about it.
Looks like you decided to trade in that rope for a stick this go-round. But I suppose even a porter has to pull the trigger from time to time.
And there's even more combat this time around, where after every 2 or 3 story missions, there's some sort of combat to keep you engaged. Now, there could be various different reasons for why there's more combat in this game, for which the original game didn't really want to try and focus on. Because the original game did have action in it, but it was not your typical action game. Death Stranding 2, on the other hand, is structured to be like a typical action game. And right after I finished the game, I started to wonder what more narrative inconsistencies is present in the second game. And don't get me wrong, this game is a masterpiece. It's a great game that I really love, and I'm going to be platinuming this soon. But the fact is, the contradictions have to be pointed out. I feel as a sequel to the first game, there were barely any improvements to the delivery aspect in this second game. I mean, there could have been more ways of transportation, there could have been more ways of automation. I was excited for the monorails when I saw it in the trailer, to which it's still implemented well in the game. But if the player had more freedom in placing the monorail and customizing where exactly it gets placed, it would be much more of an experimentation. One thing I've noticed is, the previous game, I used a lot of the zip lines, I used a lot of the vehicles. This time around, it was much more shorter, and I didn't feel the need to use the zip lines or the ropes or the ladders. I could just walk to the destination, and it was not even that long. You didn't really have to take your time. And another minor issue, there were few BTs compared to the last game this time around. Specifically, if you're playing only the story, you're not going to encounter a lot of BTs, which is good to me because I don't like them. But again, the first game was going for more of this horror aesthetic of you being afraid and holding your breath and all that. Oh yeah, and there is a lot of freedom in how you approach fights. You can choose to ignore the BTs, you can choose to ignore the combat with the human enemies. You could just walk right past people too. But again, just because you don't have to do it doesn't mean it isn't present. You still have combat in this game. And it only made me question more about why I like this game. Maybe because it felt familiar. And I think Kojima knew that too.
It's very self-indulgent writing, which is kind of frustrating.
It's never fun, it's never enjoyable, it's always just a means to an end to get to great cutscenes and great writing and characters.
I think Death Stranding 2 is going to be a game that does a good job of winning back players who fell off.
One thing that it also really adds is combat.
I did not play Death Stranding for the gameplay. I played Death Stranding 1 for the story. Yeah, the ambience and the music and helping each other is a core part of Death Stranding, but I only delivered packages to progress the story. That was it. After that, it was either to get the 100% or just help other people. The gameplay of Death Stranding has no correlation to what's happening in the story. It's still engaging to deliver packages and to face obstacles and find ways to get out of it, that's when I understood, okay, I play that game specifically for the movie, specifically for the cutscenes. Where most people playing this game have very little interest in watching cutscenes and they want to actually play an engaging game. But this is an important piece of the puzzle. It's a movie game, and it's trying to be a video game. I think to solve this puzzle, we have to address the situation of familiarity. As I mentioned before, there's not much that's been offered that feels like something new. Yeah, based off the results from the first game, neglecting the pure focus on just delivering packages and more combat was bound to happen. Shooting a trank sniper is cool. The improvements in boss fights are clearly present in this game, and it was really cool to see all of these BT bosses join together at the end to form one big BT, and then they fight this Metal Gear kind of thing. And what really was going on with Neil? I mean, I feel like that character was out of place. It made no sense for him to be there, purely for the fact of convenience, and maybe something else could be at play. I mean, there's gotta be a reason for Kojima doing all this. I mean, apart from scanning feet. Kojima, man, come on, man. Maybe he likes using metaphors. There could be a reason why this feels so familiar and why I really like it. Maybe the story has it. Let's take a closer look at what the story is. So Sam goes through this journey and finds new friends and gets this baby, right? But along the way, due to unfortunate circumstances, he loses his baby. And for most of the game, he's grieving. He sees hallucinations. He wants his baby back, and he misses his baby. He misses his baby. The revenge, the trank sniper rifles, the feet scanning, the violence, the Neil. Holy shit. Oh shit.
Something akin to a phantom pain.
I mean, how could I not see it? It was right there. The first game had science too, but it was nowhere near as this game. I ignored the subtle references until the whole game started to revolve around it. But why does it matter? It's his game. He can do what he wants, right? Kojima's known to try new stuff, to try new shit. I mean, the whole point of Death Stranding 1 was the weird BTs and the weird atmosphere. And I really like this game, and a lot of people like this game is because they're familiar with it. And it's clear that they mixed Death Stranding 1 and Phantom Pain and called it a sequel. But it could be so much more than Phantom Pain, because underneath all this weirdness is a game about a father trying to find revenge for his daughter. But what I really find interesting, and I'm not even making this up, the ending for this game, where Tomorrow comes back and they meet each other, feels so flat. It gives off this weird energy, which is exactly what's happening to me with Death Stranding 2. It's like I'm remembering Metal Gear Solid V, but I don't want to. I want to play Death Stranding 1's sequel. And that's when I realized the whole freaking game is a metaphor. When Sam loses Lou, he wants her back. And by the end of the game, she comes back. And it feels unnatural, but it's what he wanted. Rather than building up that connection of Australia and moving on with that grief, they have to add this ending, and it just doesn't make sense.
Mr. Kojima had every intention of being with us tonight.
I realize it's hard to move on from anything you hold dearly. If you're attached to something, whether it be life or art or whatever, and you hold it close, it's hard to let go.
But unfortunately, he was informed by a lawyer representing Konami just recently that he would not be allowed to travel to tonight's awards ceremony to accept any awards.
I know deep down you want your tomorrow. But you gotta let go and make way for something new.